Alright, so the whole purpose of this video is to show you how to use a 95 harness in a 96 car. Now, the right thing to do, or the easier thing to do, would be use a 96, 97 harness in the 96 car because they are more of a direct fit, 95 and a 95, etc. However, these harnesses, they're getting older, brittle, you have more mice, varmints eating them up, so sometimes it's not easy to find the same year harness, but you can make other years work. With a little bit of work, a little bit of wiring diagrams, you can do it. So today's video, I'm going to show you how to use a 95 harness in a 96 car and do an lt1 conversion swap. I see this posted a lot. I get asked questions on converting these a lot. And the truth is yes, they are almost all 1 year harnesses with the exceptions of 96 and 97. However, I have made 94 harnesses work in 93 cars and 95 harnesses work in 96 cars, 96 work in 95 cars, etc. And it can be done. There just has to be a couple wires to switch. There are better ways to do it, but I've done this for a little bit now and I've never had any problems doing it the way I'm going to do it. So today I'm going to show you the few wires that need swapped over to make it work, and we'll get to it. All right, so let's take a look at the white connectors under here. So we have right here the engine harness side, and then we have the car side. If we go ahead and put them together, we can see that we are going to be missing a couple different colors here. Now, everything matches up when we look at reds, tans, your blacks in there, but we have this power wire here on the car side. We have to get power on the car side in order to get connection to the PCM to read that. If you do not have this, your symptoms are going to be no communication to the PCM, no fuel pump prime, and typically no crank. So what we need to do here is we're going to take this pink wire, pull it out, we're going to have to make a splice to it into the car side pink wire of the blue connector. These are ran off of two different ignition power fuses, but like I said, doing it this way, I've never had any issues. This will give us our connection to the PCM so we can load our tune file that we need, and we will just move, like I said, this pink wire over here from this white one on the car side to the car side of this blue one. We just need to make a jumper from it and splice it right into here. Now, one of the easier ways to do this, and if you want to test to see if it works before you do any cut, splicing, and soldering, is I like to take a Scotch lock here. And if you look in this Scotch lock, typically, it's kind of tough to see in their light, you can see that one point of it is closed off. Get to focus. There you go. One point's closed off, and that's so you can stick and butt a wire up next to it. What we're going to do is we're going to trim that little section out so it's a hole all the way through on both sides. So now, you can see when we close that, we have a hole both ways. So what we're going to do here is we're going to put both these pink wires in from the white one to the pink one. So one goes all the way through there, one goes all the way through there, and then we're going to close that connector up and we'll pinch it shut. So we need to make sure we push this metal spade through both wires here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a pair of pliers, get underneath of it, pinch shut, make sure it latches. We are good to go on that one. So we've combined those two wires to get what we need on the car side. All right, so next one we need to look at for it is on on this one right here, on this black one. If we look at it, we have a purple, a black and white, so a purple and black and white, and missing orange. This is the car side that originally had an orange. That is your fuel pump prime on this red one, and ironically this gray one on the 95 harness is also the fuel pump prime. So we do not need to mess with these, but we do need this orange wire. Where that orange wire goes is actually onto the strut tower from the body of the car. So we're going to have to add a wire from the body harness on the C100 connector or C105, I'll have to double check. We're going to run that into the car and connect it into that spade terminal of that black connector. So now we're under the hood here, and these are where we're looking at our C100 and C105 connectors right here. Now these are the two that detach on the fender well from the engine harness, and then we have the body side. when we talked about that orange wire missing from that black connector under the hood, that orange wire that's missing from the black connector under the hood is actually going to be this one through here. So in cavity D, if we can get a good look on those, kind of hard to see, they are lettered throughout here, and when we look at them, they have the cavities written on them. Well, what we are going to do is we are going to, it's really tough to get there. You can see how there's letters on there. So what we, on this connector here, the larger one, we need cavity D, which is going to be the orange wire on this back side right here. So right where my thumb's at, that orange wire there. Now if we come over to the larger connector on the car side, we can see that through cavity D, there is not a wire at all. We can't fix this on the car side. So what we're gonna have to do is take that orange wire from the car side of interior wise. We're gonna take that orange wire that's in that black connector on the body harness. We're gonna hook up to it, we're gonna run it outside, and we're gonna hook up to the engine harness. That's the only way to do it. What that is that's actually a fuse that comes from the interior or the cabin fuse box. So there's power that comes from that, and we need to get it to the engine harness to run it to the PCM. So I don't have any orange wire, so yellow's gonna have to work. Okay, so I got my yellow wire here, and what we're gonna end up doing here is we're gonna run it through into the cabin. Now, like I said, there's other ways you can do this to make it a little cleaner. What we're gonna do is we're gonna unwrap this grommet here, get to it so we can shove the wire through. Perfect. Okay, so what I like to do is I roll this up so it's a little shorter, and take this wire, stretch it all up in one end. That way we can push it through. As soon as we push it through, we're going to be able to grab it and pull all the wire through that we need. So we got this. We're going to shove that around through the hole, get it inside the cabin. We'll put way too much in there, just because I like wasting stuff. Okay, so we got that ran. Now we need to worry about this piece. So let's go ahead. We're going to have to run enough up so we have the ability to get it through up to the connector. So let me go ahead and pull it through the car here. These are always really nice and easy to get in here. Everything we need there. We're going to go ahead and feed this wiring harness through. Could have made my life a lot easier and just pulled that in when I was up there. So we're going to have our PCM harness here that we're going to need, and here's our C105 connectors. So we're just going to kind of run it directly up here, because I'll probably put this in a separate loom itself. So right here, since we're going to be connecting to this larger connector in cavity D, that should be plenty right there. We'll flip it off and we'll get it spliced. Okay, so we have our cavity D from C100, and we are going to go ahead and get our Scotch locks on there. Now remember, I had said earlier how they have that plastic piece in there. You can see that okay? That we do not have to trim that out this time, because we are going to butt the other wire up to it. So the one that goes all the way through is going to be your orange wire, and the one that's just going to butt up next to it. It's going to do, like you said, you will want to cut this, solder it, or use a nice shrink tube connector, whichever one you want to do, but as long as it's more permanent. This is just a temporary fix. So we're going to go ahead, and I always like to push these spades through. Spade through, push this over, done, connected, pretty solid, perfect for testing. Now we got to hook it up into the car inside. All right, so let's talk about what goes on inside of the car here. When we're talking about hooking up this yellow wire that I pushed through to the PCM cabin fuse from the interior fuse box, it's going to be hooking up to this orange wire right here. Now, when we talked about that orange wire and how this connector works, it's not quite, I guess I shouldn't say it's hard to do. I haven't found the right spades or haven't ordered them in to do this because this isn't something I do all the time. But let's take a look at how they're not a standard Metra Pack. If we look at them, they're actually more of a spade terminal. So what I have found here is I can take a standard spade connector, and they do fit right over these, no problem. So what I'll end up doing is I'll take the car side. So this is the car side. I need actually the engine side, harness side. So we're going to take this, we're going to pull off this connector here so we can get it going, or the harness. Sure, the other one goes easy. There we go. And now you can see we've opened it up where these spade terminals are. Now, because we don't have the ability to really put that in there and have it click in like the factory, we're just gonna have to make do. So I'm gonna go pull this blue section off with a pair of pliers, needle nose pliers, and I'll show you how I make it work. So I got that back, and you can see I pulled the end of it off. We're going to go ahead and take this yellow wire, strip the end of it, oh, not enough. That'll work. I'm going to put this through here. And now we need to crimp it. Once we got that crimped, that was a crabby crimp. As my friends would say, that would be a causal crimp. Push that back in. Handy. Okay, let's try this again. Spin it around. Much better. Okay. Now that we got this, we were actually just going to go ahead and take, where is my other black connector? Marco. Polo. Okay. So we need these to connect together. We see they go right here. Now this is going to have to be folded down for it to come all the way up. But we are going to fold this down and feed it through and connect to our spade. There it is. Fold down, push. Now, that is actually nicely locked in onto that spade terminal. So we can latch all that and be good to go. So as of right now, we should be able to connect all of our connectors under here. Blue or white. There's another one, but we'll get to that. And that other one is just a little gray one that kind of likes to hang out, and it goes up by the heater box. All right, so those are all the wires we need to. We jumped the pink over, we added the yellow to the engine harness. Now we should be able to hook up our battery, get power to the PCM, hear it prime, and get crank. Now that we've hooked all those wires up, we're gonna try to see if we can't write a tune to the PCM using Flash Hack. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the key on here. Fuel pump runs. We're gonna go ahead and load a bin. Let's go to desktop. And we will write our calibration. So as you can see, it's communicating, it's writing to it. This is gonna take a little bit, so we'll let this write, and then I'll be back with the startup. So, successful write on it. I'm gonna be able to start this up. I'll be right honest, I don't know how much it'll actually idle. I just put the engine in this, and so it doesn't have all the coolant in it, and the mass airflow is not hooked up yet. I do not have one. But we'll see if it starts and idles here. Obviously that check engine light's probably the mass airflow. So there you go. That's how you'll make a 95 harness work on a 96 car. It's pretty simple, just a few wires and some time. Hopefully that helps you out. So as you can see, the swap's not impossible. It's fairly easy to do and make work. You won't be able to run your 96 or 97 PCM using the 95 harness because it is an OBD1 computer. But that's not all so bad because tuning options are free and easily available to do with the 94 or 95 PCM. It's really just finding someone willing to work, getting the right ALDL cable for it to communicate with your laptop, and using it. On this car, I had a little bit of issues initially communicating with the PCM, and after chasing all the wires down and spending a couple hours making sure that the wiring was okay in the car still, it actually ended up just being a bad program or bad software install on my computer. So after I uninstalled it and reinstalled Flash Hack, everything worked just fine.